you said you graduated college in 2001. How has politics changed in that time? Having 9/11 happen, and then now, you see Donald Trump kind of the polar opposite in some ways of George W. Bush.
I think in a lot of ways it's the same. I just think that we're smarter and more vocal. There's still shady entities that are doing things to make money and, running game. George Bush made off like a fat cat, keeping the war going. I think that I was part of the group. I didn't lead the march, so let me show a great deal of humility before I say what I'm about to say. But I was part of the group. We went and marched on the Florida Capitol during the Al Gore Bush 2000 election, the whole Dangling Chad thing. The governor's mansion is a 10-minute walk from FAMU's campus. Maybe 15 because it's a hill, and I don't like hills. But, the idea of being vocal and showing care and concern about the community and our democratic process, it's always been there. I just think now the stakes are higher. The methods are a little bit more inventive and guerrilla to some degree. I mean, we weren't like blocking freeways or anything like that, or straight up what the students have been doing at the college campuses as of late. But, we definitely were vocal. I just think that we live in a time where we can see more people speaking out and doing things. And I think it's helped to make you can't ignore problems no more. Stuff that you thought you could sweep under the rug as a politician, you can't do no more, man. There's a reason why in foreign countries, when there's a serious uprising, the first thing they do is cut the internet. They cut social media. They cut cell phone coverage so that people cannot organize and mobilize.
To think about the fact that Ted Cruz, a lot of the big Republican names now were part of that Brooks Brothers group that were storming during the hanging Chads down in South Florida. Is it weird to think about how incestual politics is? I mean, it seems to be like the same people are moving up the ladder, and whether it's Democrats, whether it's Republicans, it's this homogenous kind of, almost, it feels like a lot of the same people, the same voices are moving up, and we need more young kind of outside voices.
Yeah, I think that takes time, but I think we're starting to get to that point where even Republicans are starting to agree that, it's time to get some youth. The youth are becoming slowly the largest voting bloc in this country. And so, you're going to look up into elections, and to win an election, you're going to need to get more voters under the age of 50 than voters over the age of 50. And the kids that are coming up, this new wave of voters, they are far more politically aware than I ever was. I went to the march, Jeb Bush and all of that, but I wasn't out here organizing. I wasn't David Hogg with it.
Yep.
I wasn't Greta Thunberg with it. I wasn't Black Lives Matter with it. Yeah. A lot of these kids are a lot more serious, and they're not fucking around, man. And to be able to reach them and earn their vote is going to take more than a t-shirt and a cute slogan and some merch. You get away with that with old heads. Old heads love a free t-shirt, but
we love free stuff. Give me a hat, I'm on board.
Yeah, you ain't gonna get these youngins. These youngins, you give them a t-shirt, they're gonna go, that's contributing to the waste, and the fast fashion industry is destroying their. You're gonna lose a vote fucking around. Give out the wrong merch. So, I think the kids will be all right. I think that, and when I say younger, we're just gonna get like 50-year-olds.
Yeah.
You might get you a couple another John Ossoffs out of Georgia or something like that, But I think the thing that people really need to be excited about and pay a little bit more attention to is just how many young mayors we're starting to get. In the South, there's a lot of mayors that are at the time, a little older now, but or at the age of 40 or younger in southern liberal cities in Jackson, Mississippi, and Keisha Lance Bottoms at the time in Atlanta, Randall Woodfin in Birmingham, Stephen Reed down in Montgomery. Like there are a lot of people that are just making moves. You know, I would even say that Cori Bush is part of that youth movement, you know, out of
Absolutely.
Missouri, you know, she's in DC now. So I think as the young people get into their mid-20s and 30s, we're going to start seeing more politicians that I believe reflect those views and values. And then as a counter, you're going to see more legislation at the state level by the last bastions of old heads that are still in there, trying to come up with new rules and policies to regulate and keep these people from going to the polls.
What worries you most as we head into election season?
Disinformation and AI, because people are stupid. And nobody's.
Is it like the AI videos and audio?
AI influence. Yeah, you can do audio dubs and copy people's face, like voice and all of that. And like,
shit,
your grandmama falling for the fake message from Joe Biden, you know.
30 falls for like the emails. She's still Nigerian princess be getting her.
Exactly. These grannies, they be clicking every link in that damn email. You think they can tell the difference or count the fingers on the Joe Biden poster to see that it's got 7 fingers? Therefore, it's AI. They're not. That presents its own type of thing.
I mean, on one hand, they were the FBI when it comes to like looking through your cell phone, but on the other hand,
yeah,
email.
yeah.
How did your experience, not just with the Daily Show, but also the White House Correspondents Dinner, how did it form your view of kind of legacy media and the relationship between politics? Because I think one of my big complaints has been that revolving door.
To me, with legacy media, I think the biggest thing people need to realize is that all of these people are pretty much friends or colleagues. There may be some little bit of tension because your channel doesn't like my channel or whatever's in the news cycle and critiquing how we cover it. But most of these folks is all cool. I ain't gonna say it's pro wrestling, but it's close. So
yeah, I mean, like I started
yelling at people and, you know, you yelling at this channel, but love this channel and hate that channel. All of them motherfuckers is out having a drink.
It was the hardest thing for me to realize. Yeah. Like when I started at Fox, I was like the black Democrat at Fox when I started doing on air. And it was wild because you go on air and somebody would say something really offensive and you got to keep a straight face and like you can't explode and whatever. And then you get off into the green room and people are just like, oh, hey, what's up, Mike? Da, 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 da. And you see, you know, an Obama person sitting with a Trump person and we all go out to drinks and MSNBC, you know, like it doesn't matter what green room, everybody kicks it.
Bro, I went to Politicon one year. We were covering was it Politicon or was it might have been it wasn't Turning Points USA, but there was something.
Turning Points is like a Nazi, like
no, but these was some black. This is when Candace Owens was still running. They were. I can't remember the event. It's in February or March of every year. All the conservatives get together, like conservative Coachella.
Oh, it's CPAC.
CPAC is what it was. That's the joint. So I go to CPAC and see a couple liberals slipping in there, you know, to do interviews and cover people. And again, the convention as a whole, weird, but you start talking to people individually and really get into why they believe. And a lot of people don't even know why they believe. And I think that's the thing that's like really sad about, you know, a lot of this.
Do you think it's problematic kind of the way the relationships are though? I mean, on one hand, it's, you know, it's nice to know that Democrats and Republicans can be professional and interact. And like, I enjoy being able to, you know, talk to Mick Mulvaney or people like that. But on the other hand, it does change the objectiveness when you try to talk about certain issues.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you're asking how to change that, the first thing you need is media that is hell-bent on informing the people and not making money. And change that.
I mean, this is a city, though. It's everything is all built on access.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants to feel cool and appreciated. Like, nobody wants to be NPR, PBS, and be cast out to the side because you're over there telling the truth every time. Like, no, I want to be invited to the parties. I want to hang. I want to do cool stuff. So, yeah, I think there's a little bit. It's definitely a little bit incestuous, but I just think that so much of this is just companies serving their own interests that hire people who serve their own interests. And I think if you're asking me what's the broader observation in media, to me, it's that.
Yeah. You just got off tour with Jordan Klepper. What was that like? And what interesting stories do you have?
I don't have any interesting stories. Klepper and I, we're over 40, bro. We go home.
I saw you in DC though. Like, did you have anybody like heckle during any of the shows or anything?
No, you know what? We didn't. It was actually really love. You know, we did a short run of shows January and February of this year. We might go out again. I don't know what he wants to do. He's still working at Daily Show, and it's an election year, so that's like working a double at your job every day for a year when you're at Daily Show during election year. But no, we just traveled the country and just, talked a lot of shit with people. We told stories, and then we allowed, a little bit of Q&A to happen. And I think the thing that was interesting during the Q&As was that how much people were emoting and feeling. And you could tell when you were talking to somebody. We never asked anybody their party affiliations when they came to the mic. But you could tell how some people felt and thought about certain things. And it was interesting to hear how the audience would react to those people, not to us, but to those people. So it was almost like, in a way, a little bit of a town hall where people themselves could get heckled.
And, as you try to inform yourself heading into this election, what outlets do you look to kind of inform yourself?
For me, I enjoy the Wall Street Journal still, which isn't necessarily a super duper news type thing or whatever, but I do like the Journal because it's succinct and it's very it's unemotional. Like if you read the Wall Street Journal, like they don't even use the word happy or excited. They just go, he left in an elated state. And then like it's very clinical the way they process news. It's not a wide enough net for everything that I'm interested in. But, I try my best, to watch some like when I travel, I try to watch local news, but even local news is a little bit of like Diet Coke versus having a smoothie. You know what I mean? Like it's better than cable news. Yeah, but it ain't NPR. I like NPR. I like Newsweek. Newsweek helps me process what was versus looking at what's happening and, what's coming down the road. To look at what's coming down the road, I like the Washington Post.
Here you go. I want to close out with a question about the Edmund Pettus Bridge and how I messed up my attempt to change the name of the Edmund Pettus Bridge.
Walk me through it.
So for those of you that don't know, during the George Floyd protests, I was downtown. I'm from DC. City's on fire. I'm sad. I go home, have a couple drinks, and decide to make one of those petitions to change the name of Edmund Pettus Bridge. I send it to, I tweeted it, Ava DuVernay, a couple other people, wake up, it's got like 10,000 signatures. So we decide, I've been writing for The Hill and stuff anyway, so it gets picked up by MSNBC and CNN and becomes this big national story because John Lewis dies about my efforts to change the Edmund Pettus Bridge. I get a call from people on the ground in Selma. Who the hell are you? And who the hell do you think you are telling us to change the name of the Edmund Pettus Bridge? Yep. Man, when I tell you I got cussed out so many times, and I didn't understand why. I went to Selma, to Montgomery, and I went to Selma and met with people on the ground during COVID because I wanted to understand why I was getting so much pushback. And as someone who's kind of from that area, talk about where kind of that pushback comes from.
Well, I mean, what did you learn? I mean, you can't push out one name to honor a new one. You have to figure out a new way to honor the new name. That's essentially what Alabama is. We don't want to erase the people that have done the thing, that have earned the right to the thing. And is it fully respectful to John Lewis to add his name to the thing? There's also the conversation of just put a statue of John Lewis near the bridge or by the bridge, or
which is what
do something like that. Correct. And so I'm saying at the time that was the here's the middle ground. What do we do instead? We put up a plaque or something. No, I get that wholeheartedly. Like you're like, what you're not going to do in the South is take somebody's name off of something. And white folks feel the same way. You see, they putting them Confederate names right back up.
And what I didn't understand was so the governor and a lot of white Republicans actually were supportive of this. And so I was like, I don't understand. White Republicans are supportive of taking the name down. Why aren't you guys? And one of the first things I was humbled with was even well-intentioned things can come off arrogant when you are an outsider coming to a community telling them that they need to change something that is part of their history, that people who are still alive marched across, bled on. Like it was so humbling to hear them really call me to the carpet and be like, yo, like, who are you?
Let's fight. That's Alabama, baby. That's Alabama.
And it felt like that to me felt like the bigger story of the Democratic Party coming into a lot of communities across the country, coming in and telling them how things need to change, how they need to change their communities without spending time there first.
Yeah, you always have to contact the locals. I mean, even in Birmingham, where I'm from, they know that I'm trying to do things to help better the city or draw attention to the city, but I have to do that through the people who are on the ground there every day. I'm in New York. So the change has to be ushered in through the people who are going to be there to see it and maintain it after you're gone.
Okay. What's your wish for the country, not just in this election, but like in the next couple of years, whether Biden wins, Trump wins? There are those that say this is the end of the country if Trump wins. There are those that say Biden wins, it's the end of the country. Well, the country isn't going to end. But
the country's not going to end. It's America's democracy. We might have bad management every now and then, but I think in the end of the day, for as long as people continue to vote, there's going to be ways out of these things, but might be a while. It might be a while, man. I appreciate you for having me, man.
Hey, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being with me today. Share this episode with others, like and review it, and please keep learning all you can so that you can make informed voting decisions. Come back next week for more Truth in Politics. I'm Michael Starr Hopkins, and this is It Matters.